Now we're going to talk a little bit about, I call this Bitcoin around the world. So let's see who is accepting Bitcoin these days. Now this is a small list and it grows every day. Okay, more and more companies will let you pay in Bitcoin. I think at some point it's gonna become more the standard than not. It is legal in most countries on this planet. This is just a quick list of nations that have. It's not illegal. It's not their fiat currency, but it's not illegal. Okay, and we're in here. It's legal in the United States. There's a very small handful of countries who have banned it. Okay, and a couple of these countries have banned it because they're going to create their own. They don't want Bitcoin to be competing with the national virtual currency that they're going to create. In particular, China. China is developing its own form of cryptocurrency, and it has made Bitcoin illegal as kind of a preliminary step to having its own cryptocurrency. Russia's central bank has stated that, it's time for us to develop our own cryptocurrency. Now, Japan actually has legally classified Bitcoin as a form of payment, and it has licensed exchanges. So Bitcoin is very much in the forefront of cryptocurrency. They've even said that they're going to work toward the healthy development of the cryptocurrency industry within Japan and on a global scale. That's very nice. The Philippines also accept Bitcoin as a legal form of payment. Now, Switzerland has declared Bitcoin to be a foreign currency, and you might ask then of which country. Nobody knows. But Bitcoin is sold at railway station kiosks. It's readily available. Taiwan, Bitcoin is sold in convenience stores. So there are many other countries where Bitcoin is much more part of daily life, I'll say, than here in the United States. Canada is looking into creating its own cryptocurrency. Again, and when I say cryptocurrency, we're just talking about blockchain technology. Ecuador proposing to do the same. South Korea. Ukraine has this national project called Cashless Economy, and they're considering developing their own cryptocurrency as a part of that. And on it goes. So I think what we're seeing here is kind of really a massive evolution in the financial world toward blockchain technology. So as tax preparers at this point, there are a lot of questions that are coming up for us. For example, if I have a client who comes in and he sold virtual currency, how do I report that? If I have a client who comes in and says, oh, I've traded Bitcoin for Ether, how do I report that? Now, these are important questions. Now, virtual currency has been around since 2009, 2010, certainly started taking off by 2013. And as of recently as 2013, the IRS had given us no guidance whatsoever on how to handle these virtual currency transactions. What actually finally kicked the IRS off to do something was that the United States Government Accountability Office published a report to the Finance Committee for the U.S. Senate. The report was called Virtual Economies and Currencies, Additional IRS Guidance Could Reduce Tax Compliance Risks. Yeah, you think? What was interesting about this report, it's actually fascinating reading. The report spends as much time on the question of the taxation of assets purchased or sold on online gaming was a major topic, as well as Bitcoin. The IRS responded in 2013 saying, yeah, we know it's a problem. Too bad we don't have the manpower to address it. In the same year, the Taxpayer Advocate Service addressed the same question in its 2013 annual report to Congress, saying the IRS lack of guidance was leading to serious compliance problems. Finally, in 2014, the IRS issued 6 pages, count them, six pages of guidance. In April 2014, it was IRS Notice 2014-21. And the guidance and the reporting requirements that it created raised very serious concerns in the virtual currency community. The guidance recognized, quote, there may be other questions regarding tax consequences of virtual currency not addressed in this notice that warrant consideration, and please let us know what those may be. So this IRS Notice 2014-21 is the substance of what we're going to talk about in part 2. Part 2 is where the rubber really meets the road in terms of how do I create a tax return when a virtual currency user comes into my office and says, hey, guess what? I had virtual currency income. What do I do? That's the question you're going to be asked. That's the question that we're going to address in great detail in Part 2, and I look forward to seeing you there. Now, why should you as a tax preparer care about virtual currency is, there's a serious underreporting problem going on. Coinbase, which is one virtual currency exchange in the US, holds 35 million wallets. 35 million. How many people reported a virtual currency transaction in their tax returns? In 2013, 807. In 2014, 893. In 2015, 802. Now, I think it's the same 800 people over and over. I don't think it's 2,400 people. I think it's 800 people. So we've been operating under this idea in tax world that, I don't really want to deal with it. I'm not going to ask about it, and no one will tell me, and things will be good. You know that we can't work like that. The tax preparers that I've spoken to who are trying to avoid it have just told me outright, it's too confusing. I don't understand it. I don't want to deal with it. That's not how we can operate as Circular 230 practitioners, when we all know that. We need to be proactively asking clients about their virtual currency activities, and educating them on how to report these activities, what kind of record keeping is going to be required of them. So that's what we're going to talk about in Part 2 of this course, so that you'll be, after that course, ready to go and help virtual currency taxpayers. And I'll look forward to seeing you then. Thank you.
We do hope that you join us for Part 2. As you can see on this screen, there's a couple resources that we wanted to make you aware of. Just some things that we hope that you're aware of. We hope that you've enjoyed this introductory course. There's a lot of information, and this is definitely a new field of study and a new area of taxation for a lot of people. So we appreciate you coming and learning with us on this. As Amy mentioned, we are going to have not only a Part 2 and Part 3 on this course. Part 2 will focus, as she mentioned just now, on more of the technical specific things of gifting, of inheriting, claiming losses and selling. And there's really a whole lot of taxable events that get incurred when you're dealing with virtual currency. So that Part 2 course is going to be a 2-hour course that is going to cover all of those different aspects and different considerations that you might have for your taxpayers that you're working with. Additionally, Part 3 is going to go into more of the upcoming IRS regulations, some of the telegraphing of things that are going to be coming down the pipeline as far as changes, as well as dealing with different types of clients. In Amy's experience, she's separated them out into 4 different types of clients, and ways that those folks will, ways that those clients differ on there. But so again, we appreciate you taking that time, but wanted to just get those plugs in for there as you're considering those. And as a side note, that intermediate course is going to be a 2-hour course, so will be for 2 CPE credit hours, and Part 3 is going to be another 1-hour course. And we'll be updating these as well. You can also find Amy in the community as well, which she will be posting there, and other discussion points will be happening. Thank you so much, Amy. And last thing, if we have people that want to get a hold of you, as they can see on the screen, we've got your email and your website. Is that the best way to get a hold of you if they have a question like, I've got $8 million in gains and I need to figure out how to work through this case, and how do I actually do what I'm doing?
Oh, absolutely. I'm very easy to reach. My email address, and that's the best way to reach me, is Amy, AMY, at TucsonTaxTeam.com. Tucson, by the way, is spelled Tucson, like Tucson, TucsonTaxTeam.com, and certainly I'm very happy to help.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, and thank you for being a part of the session today. We hope you'll join us on Part 2 and 3, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the future on those sessions.